Our guest today is a producer, an engineer. He's done a lot of legendary records in our scene, anywhere from HATEBREED, Dillinger Escape Plan, three Suicide Silence records. So he's been doing it. He just hit the 3-decade mark. So congratulations to our guest. He's done a lot for the scene and the genre. And if you're listening to a heavy record, most likely you're going to see his name in the credits. So let's get into it. Hope you all enjoy. Please welcome Steve Evetts. We have some fresh pots.
Fresh pots. Cheers.
Cheers, man. Thank you for making that drive down here, man.
Yeah. Well, you know, the funny thing is, it's like muscle memory.
Was it really?
Oh God, I didn't even have to, no direction. I mean, I shared it with you because I wanted you to see where I was at for traffic wise, but I don't need the maps to get here. I can just.
Yeah, you drove here.
I made a lot of drives out here.
You were just showing me videos that you took in this room 10 years ago.
In this very room, more than 10 years and a few months ago.
Wow.
That was January of 2011, the Black Crown.
Wow. Yeah, because the Black Crown's going to hit 10 years pretty soon. But yeah, we were hanging out.
I mean, the Black Crown's, it is 10 years now. Like, it's 10 years since we completed the record.
True.
Because we way finished it. It was like the mixing was finished in May, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember we were getting mixes back, and why were we getting... This is why I'm a little bit confused. We were getting mixes, but we were still at the Omen room. Remember that?
We were? I think, yeah, because we finished a couple, and Zeus was just kind of, he was staying ahead of us.
Oh.
That's what it was. Like, I think he test mixed or whatever, and he... got the first mix, and we were all like, yeah, cool. And then he's like, well, he was ready to go. So we finished a few and then sending him, and then we were just finishing up like the last little bits, mostly finishing up Mitch's vocals.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Didn't we like leave the studio for a little bit to play some show? It was a dumb idea.
What? I'm trying to remember now. My memory's foggy from that point. But I think you did.
It was 10 years ago.
It was. No, was it a cruise? Did you do a metal cruise or something?
No, almost.
No.
Almost.
You were going to.
Yeah.
And then you didn't. But then I think you did like, oh, no, it was like I
think it was
South America or something. You did it was a foreign tour, but it was only like a 2-week quick little stint.
It was something, yeah.
And then came back to finish a couple of things.
Yeah, we learned that never do that ever again. Never do it again.
Everybody says that, but they always, no big deal. We got time. We don't have any time. We got to go on the road. Shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it's easier because like a lot of times like, oh, I have a recording rig. Oh, just send me that guitar overdub and I'll reamp it or whatever. Not that I want to always do that, but it does make it easier. Even 10 years ago, it wasn't nearly as easy to do. And now it's a lot easier. I mean, I've had to do it so many times where it's like, band doesn't finish or whatever. Or, oh, but you know what? We have another idea. Well, you're on the road. Well, we've got a rig on the bus. We can just send you a guitar file or whatever.
Really?
Yeah, it happens a lot.
Wow. Is this recent?
I mean, in the last like 5-6 years for sure, easily.
Whoa.
But even so, like, I mean, I've done so many times where it's like, I mean, nowadays it's like somebody in the band. I mean, you have stuff, Alex was always a guy, like a recording guy. He would send me files or whatever, like.
True.
There's always a guy in the band that does this, at least to some degree of proficiency that you can,
Someone hear what's going on.
Someone, but, there's also that danger of never being done.
True.
Hey, one more thing. I have an idea. Let's add this other thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel about that? Like the way like things can still be getting done, like as opposed to like a few years, people can still sing tracks, and it's kind of like the wave of like the future. How do you feel about that?
I mean, there's a definite plus side to it for economy of time, like something like that. Like, oh, we're not finished, and like, oh, there's like a quick couple little guitar overdubs that we wanted to add, or even I would say, like after the fact, like I'm mixing and I'm like, you know what, I hear this thing, like, and I like over the phone, like, meow, 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 like actually hum a melody, like, hey, can you give me a guitar that goes,
really,
yeah,
like
or whatever,
cool.
and like
that's
they go,
cool.
oh yeah, I can send you something like that, and then they send it to me, and I can layer it into the mix.
Huh.
That it's great, but at the same time, like I said, there's also, I think there's still something to be said for having a producer and having some sort of singular vision to as quality control for the record, because if everybody wants to add something, there's, like I said, there's the danger of never being done. You go, oh, one more thing sounds good, but one more thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've had pretty much every kind of scenario. You've done records with a lot of time, and you've done records that you need a short amount of time.
Yeah, I have, and the older I get, it's like I don't know how I did some of those records in the speed I did.
Yeah.
Like you talk to like if you talk to like Jamie from HATEBREED, like that first HATEBREED record.
Yeah.
9 days we did that record in.
9 fucking
9 days. And then, how many years later we covered Last Breath for You Can't Stop Me, but I did it again. But
shout out to HATEBREED and Jamie.
But hey Jamie.
Yeah.
But yeah. 9 days, including mixing. We tracked it in 7, and I think I mixed it in 2.
Wow, you mixed it in 2 days.
2 days.
That's crazy, and that's especially if you're in the scene or in a metal scene, you have like a favorite Steve Evetts record, and that record is mine.
Really?
Satisfaction is my Steve Evetts record. I was jamming it this whole week. I'm like, damn, this record. And now
I walked in, you were jamming Incantation.
Yeah.
This is like the first record I ever produced. First record I ever produced. Did you put that on for my sake, or were you actually listening to it?
Out of respect. Yeah, dude, that was came out in '92, but you did it in '91, correct?
Yep, that's for those of you keeping score. That's 30 years ago.
Well, Steve Evetts, congrats on 3 decades.
Thank you.
That is an accomplishment, for real.
Well, thank you. But it's funny. Like I tell people, oh, I produced that record because other people have asked me about that over the years. But that was I don't really consider myself producing records for real. I mean, I guess the first record I considered really producing was MOD. That was the year later. That was '92. But my producing career really didn't start really going until like 96, 97 is when I started doing all those records, all those Victory records.
Yeah.
Snapcase, HATEBREED, all that stuff. That's when I really started like actually like, okay, now I'm just working on records, because I was the staff engineer at Trax East in South River, New Jersey. So like Incantation, they just basically just booked studio time. So I was the de facto producer.
Yeah.
But I was really the house engineer.
Okay.
And I produced the record, but, and I had my ideas, but I wasn't really a producer then, considering. Yeah. I mean, I still do a lot of what I do now, and it's like the quality control thing, but I wasn't really working on arrangements or anything like that. I was just recording them and getting great, trying to get the best sounds possible, trying to get the best performance possible.
Yeah.
But it was a very broad sense of production rather than like really digging in to any kind of like feel of things, or it's just like, okay, this sounds good. All right, that sounds good. That sounds like a good take. Okay, that's good. Move on. I mean, and again, we did that record in like, I think a week. The Incantation, yeah. Like it was like a week and then a couple of other weekends. We did it over a span of like in a month or whatever, but it was like one solid week or 5 days, like a work week, Monday to Friday, and then like a couple of other weekend blockouts at Trax, because the guys weren't really full-time, and it was like on their off days from work. So we recorded on the weekends. We blocked out the full weekend and did that. Yep.
What a trip, huh? I mean,
shout out to John McAtee. That's he's still doing Incantation. He's the
Beautiful.
only original member, and he wasn't the singer. Now he is, but he took over vocals on the later records. But this guy Craig, the other guitar player, was the singer
Yeah.
on that record.
It's a trip that we were talking when you walked in. Like, you kind of came out of the gate swinging for putting quality on death metal or any kind of like genres that aren't really known to have quality recordings.
Yeah.
So you kind of came out of the gates
Well, thank you.
kind of striving for a good sounding record or song.
You know, the funny thing is, it wasn't even ever a conscious thing. It was just like when I would hear stuff, like when I would think of death metal, I wasn't even really into death metal at the time, but I was telling you before, there was a death metal scene in New Jersey, and I started working with a lot of the Jersey bands that were in that scene. Incantation, and then there was this other one called Demodesy, and then Ripping Corpse. I didn't work with Ripping Corpse, but they were awesome. You ever hear them?
I never heard them.
Amazing. The bass player was like this complete monster, like
Yeah.
unbelievable band. And Mortician, like I said, I did that.
Mortician,
Yeah, I did that split 7-inch with Mortician and Incantation, which is how I got to do the Incantation record.
Wow.
But I would think of death metal when I would think of like Venom, like At War with Satan or something like that. And I'm like, you know, I could understand what they were doing, but I thought those records always sounded like crap. They're not.
Yeah.
They don't. It's just like a big blur of like.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe that's the cool part about it. But like, I always like
Sure.
like going like, when I would hear like I originally approached that when I would listen to, I was telling you like Slayer, like Seasons in the Abyss. Like, I'm like, okay, that's what it should sound like, or you know, like.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I tried to make it sound like. I'm like, make it sound like Slayer, kind of, you know, like.
Yeah.
They were using like crate amps, just like the most horrific, you know.
Nice. Contour blasted.
Contour, yeah,
And
just
the
like
contour.
it's just scoop, and wherever you move the scoop, you turn the knob. It's like.
What is contour? Coming from a pro.
I don't know, but I think it's basically just a mid scoop, and then it's like wherever the frequency, how much you're scooping, and like you literally, if you swept this contour, it would sound like a phaser because it would just like scoop and you just move it around like.
Yeah.
Just like.
You know what? I think I need to buy one now and just do that effect that you did. Like, Steve, mic it up. I just want to do this phaser.
Yeah,
Just
it's
keep-
just
keep
like
messing
it's
with
just
the
the
contour.
most scooped sounding. Just it's just
And that's that record, right?
that's that record. I don't even know
Damn.
the series crate it was, but I can remember it like it's yesterday. So it didn't have Tolex like a Marshall head on it, but it had like fuzzy, almost like carpet on the outside of it. It was like black, like fuzzy.
Oh, the carpet ones.
It was the carpet crates.
Dang, that's sick.
And it had like the red knob or multicolored knobs. And
Yeah.
the red knob was, I think, the contour, if I remember right. But like,
Dude, when they had the fuzz on the amps, that's like.
then they
early
tried to
90s,
make a
80s.
better sounding one. It was the Excalibur. You remember the crate Excalibur? That
Yeah.
was like that was the one that everybody was using for a while.
Yeah, if you had a crate, like, you were known as like a pro. Especially in high school. I mean, yeah. I mean, I know. You know, we were all talking about crates and how you want to have like the contour.
Dude, so sick.
It was like when you have no like idea what you're doing. You make like your sick tone out of your little combo in like your room. Then you play in like a room or like the studio. Like, where'd the sound go?
Well, it's because, you know, the thing you learn as a player and as me as a producer too is that everything can't, like, by itself, it's like an interesting sound. It's not really great, but it's like it's big, really big sounding. Like
Yeah.
it's like just like I said, scoop, like extreme lows and extreme highs.
Yeah.
But the problem is that you learn later on that every sound can't be the biggest sound, because if everything's big, nothing's big.
Oh. Yeah.
You have to learn how to fit it within the framework, and that's the same as a musician and an artist. Like,
Yeah.
working in the band, you can't just make it all about yourself. It's about the combination of everybody. So it's not just everybody trying to be the biggest thing in the room.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. We all can't be Dan Kenny. You know.
We could try.
Shout out.
We could try.
Shout out to
So check
great
out this
bass player.
toe. It's so sick.
It's so sick. You know, I was just thinking, like, you did something when we were doing the last record. You like came in and told, I don't know what you did, but I was like, how did you do that? I was like, we turned the bass down and the guitar is up, and then like the bass sounded louder. I remember when it happened, I was like, what the fuck just happened? And I'm still actually confused by it. Like
when we were doing pre-production, you mean?
yeah, a pre-pro for the latest record.
Yep.
Remember you told DK to turn down us up a little bit, and something happened to the bass frequency and went up.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being tripped out. I'm like, I don't even know what the hell just happened, but it sounds good, so I'm not even going to say anything.
Well, it was a combination of him and then also me taking the bottom end off your guitars a little bit
Maybe that's
to
what it
make
was.
room for the bass.
Maybe that's what it
It's
was.
the same thing. Like I said, if you guys both had like all this extreme low end on the guitars, then you can't hear what the bass is doing. But if you just, it's like carving out stuff. It's like the same way I approach, like, you know, when you're getting tones in the studio.
Yeah.
It's like you got to make space for things.
Yeah. Interesting. What's your take on now that we're on the subject of tones? There's a subject that I'm trying to get to understand more, and that's phase, because there's like you could do like the one track, and that's cool, or you could do a double track, which is like I'm trying so hard not to be geeky, but
Yeah.
But I noticed that when you do two tracks on top of each other, you can't do like, because you know what I was trying to do on the last record, put a bunch of effects, but you can't put effects on top of each other. So I was wondering is that possible to do on two tracks, or do you have to just do it on one?
Usually one.
Yeah.
Or you have to do something different. It's the same thing. It's like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
Because if you have, say, like if you're trying to make a picture, right?
Yeah.
So you have a puzzle. So you have this. And if you have two different sounds, you can make them do that,
Yeah.
right? But if you have them doing the same thing, this is what happens.
Yeah.
And they
Okay.
kind of like mask each other.
Yeah. Interesting.
That's the layman's term to talk about phase.
Okay.
So if you make this, it's just like when you double track too. I try to always, when we would do like, if we layer guitars, like even on heavy rhythms, and if we want to do any double, like on the last record, we did very little of that.
Yeah.
Like on the Black Crown, we did a lot of like quad guitars and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And
Right, the quads.
I used to be into that, but now I'm more into getting a bigger tone and getting the best thing out of just the two. And like, if you want to do it in a couple of spots for impact, that's fine.
Yeah.
But when you do that, you have to alter the tone slightly, because if you do two of the same, the frequency sometimes, if they happen at the same time or if they happen opposite of each other, they cancel out,
Yeah.
and that's a question of timing. And that's like the if you want to get into the techie thing, but like when if a wave's going like this and another wave's doing the same thing, if they cross opposite of each other, they'll cancel out. If that's I don't know how else to describe it, but
Yeah.
it'll actually make it smaller sounding.
So weird.
And that's the thing with a lot of guys too. They use this thing like there's ways to like use like a plugin. There's a plugin called Vocal Line, where you could basically take two waveforms and it'll look at it and it'll go, okay, I'm going to make them super tight, and it's like it actually makes the thing sound way smaller. Even like with vocals, if there's a double track vocal, if you line them up so tight that it sounds like one voice, it winds up making the voice smaller sounding because it phases out and it cancels it. It cancels half the frequencies. Or it
Interesting.
can. Yeah.
Yeah, that would maybe what you're saying would explain where like sometimes just doing one track to me, I love just one track. That sounds heavy, great.
Especially with what you do, especially on the later, like on the last record we did and the record you did with Ross, with like you were just going really crazy with all the pedals and all the effects.
Yeah.
Like it sounds so much bigger with just the one. Just make that sound the thing, you know?
I literally just learned that like maybe last week, where it's like, you know what, I want to go back just doing one track. I miss that. You have like for some reason it still has that big sound, you know?
If you do it right.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. That which I got from you is that means you have to commit to something.
Yeah,
You-
that's everything. I've always, like 98% of the time, there's a couple of things that I've done where, okay, let's take a DI and let's do something later. But
yeah.
because it's the same thing, just because I'm quote unquote old school, and I grew up making records on tape, and you had to commit to everything and not
Yeah.
take a DI and like do it later.
Yeah.
Like, that's in all the classic records were always made in that fashion. Like, commit to the stuff. Don't, the delay, like even delays on the solos and stuff like that. Let's print it. Let's put it, get a tone and
Let's go.
listen to it in the track and, tweak it while you're listening to the music, which is what you're supposed to be doing, not listening to it on an island. Like,
Yeah.
only here's the sound. Okay, it's like, great, we get the tone originally, but then every time we'd always, okay, hang on, play along real quick, and I'm going to tweak a little more.
Yeah.
Because how it fits in the puzzle, again, like I talked about, it's like that. It's like how it fits in the track when the stuff surrounding it, is the most important thing, because you're building this mosaic, this wonderful, like heavy or whatever mosaic
Yeah.
that, that's how it has to be.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, nothing is in an island. Obviously, I would love to always record everything together live if I could, but, that doesn't always work that way.
Yeah.
But it's all about the whole being greater than the sum of the parts.
Totally. Well, since you just brought it up, actually, what does it take to actually accomplish that? To actually record a song or record live? How is that accomplished?
Well, one, pre-production and having and everybody having their parts rehearsed is huge. Obviously,
Yeah.
That's everything. As long as everybody's a competent musician, there's some degree of experimentation, and that's great. And there's some magic that happens too. And sometimes the mistakes are what makes it even better, you know? But it's just being prepared. That's the huge thing. And obviously in the studio, you have to have enough microphones and, channels on the console or preamp, or if you're not using a console, have enough preamps, enough to get all the right tones and the keeper tones.
Yeah. Okay.
And then do it,
Huh. Now I know. It's weird, when you get older, like, you just know how to ask questions better, So it's like, I know what I want, but I don't know even how to ask. I don't know. Like, literally, just, like, things I'm asking now, I've always wanted to, like, just bring up. But I never knew how to, like, how do you put that into, like, a question?
Well, I've given other interviews before, like, and it's interesting to know that I never think about my process ever.
Yeah.
But I've had to over the past, few years, and I did this course on Creative Live, and I'm supposed to be doing this Nail the Mix things soon too, and like to how to break down my process about stuff, because I'm just like, I don't know, I just turn knobs till it sounds good. I move the mic till it sounds good. It's just like,
Yeah.
But you realize that they're actually, if you really break it down into like micro, there is a process, there is a thought process that goes behind some of it, but it's really just experience.
Yeah,
there's a lot of it. Just like you said, you get older, you know how to ask questions. It's like, I get older, I know how to answer them. Because I don't. I never
it's true.
I never give too much thought. I'm like, I don't know, I'm just some dude. I just come here and throw some mics up and, you know, turn knobs and make it sound good.
Wow.
See,
and it's good that we're still evolving.
Mm-hmm.
It fucking sucks how many years that takes, man.
I know.
It takes years.
Yeah, but maybe that's part of it. That's part of the journey. Because I think if we knew all the answers 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
True.
Where would we be right now?
Not here. Yeah, it's
Probably
true.
not here.
Yeah, it's true.
Unless, if you have the right attitude and, even done the right internal work, like to know that, I know enough to know I know nothing still.
True. Same,
you know what
dude.
I mean?
Same.
Like, you have to constantly try and evolve and try and keep growing and keep learning, because then other than that, it's death,
Totally.
Yeah.
I know. You're right. You got to keep evolving, dude. I learn literally like a few months ago that you know when you have like this realization, you're like, oh shit. I realized a few months ago I have like a massive ego, and it hit me like a fucking lightning bolt. You're like, it's you. It's not the other person that you thought. It's you, and like just sat
But
there.
is it confidence? Is it being stoked on what you're doing? Is it an ego, or is it like, or is that, are you perceiving that as ego? I mean, if you are, that's
Yeah.
fine. If you say, okay, I have an ego, that's, I mean, I think
Yeah.
you have to a degree.
A little one.
You have to be able to be able to step up on stage in front of how many thousands of people and like
Yeah.
just go crazy. You have to like, or you have to be completely oblivious.
Yeah,
one or the other.
Yeah, it's
There,
like
there has to be something. There has to be I don't know if it's ego, but maybe it is. But if you want to call it that, like I said, but there has to be some sort of like internal something to let you be able to be free enough on stage to be able to freely express yourself, or even
Yeah.
to write a song, or to be in the studio and just like
Yeah.
there has to be something there. I think if you have all that crushing self-doubt, you're never gonna get out of the bedroom. It was, like
True.
I
Yeah.
think maybe ego gets a bad rap, and
Huh.
I think like ego to where you think that you. I think ego to the point of, like I said, of like thinking like you know everything, then
Yeah.
that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think like I said, I think it's most of the great artists have some sort of ego, if you want for the lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it's hard to separate? Well, you actually just said it. To separate what's ego and then what is confidence.
Yeah,
It's tough, right?
It is tough because honestly, me coming from my personal life, Steve Evetts, the producer, is different than Steve in my home life. It's like a different thing.
Huh.
It's hard. It's actually harder for me to have self-confidence outside of, because maybe it's because of the familiarity or whatever, but like I'm not as decisive in my personal life as I am in the studio. And like I get in Steve work mode.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is what we should do. I know this is what I feel like we should do. I feel like I have a clear path and a clear direction. But then
Yeah.
when it comes to like personal decisions, sometimes I'm like, I don't know. I'm like indecisive. So
That's so weird, huh? Because Steve Evetts in the studio, that's you though.
that's right. I
It's
know.
you. But,
I know.
But how come that doesn't transfer over to your It's so weird, huh?
I still haven't figured it out. 30 years later, I haven't figured it out.
Dude, it's weird.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird how you could be. It's you, but it's still you though.
It's still me.
It's still.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you try and transfer it over,
I mean, do you feel any of that, like a little bit?
totally.
Really? Okay.
Totally.
Yeah.
Dude, the stage and my learning experience, the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
When I put on the headphones and the mic, my listening skills go up, and I could carry a conversation better.
Right.
It's so weird. But then I take it off, and I go right back to my fucking loser self, and like it's like how do you transfer?
Yeah. No, I know. Trust me. I've been struggling with it for years. Like
Dude.
it's a constant thing.
It's fucked.
Yeah. Meditation helps.
Dude, huge.
Huge.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm only like I'm honestly only a baby to it. My wife she's full on into it. It's like
Great.
she meditates every day,
That's great.
religiously,
Yeah.
and it's like it's a crazy thing. Like the shift happened with her. It's just like, it's like, yeah.
That's great.
I've been trying to get more into it. Some days I just like I don't have time. And it's not even like 10 minutes would probably make a difference, But
It does.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you found that even sitting down for a little bit, do you feel like the benefits of it?
Mm-hmm. It's just to slow down the like internal like mental chatter, the internal like the brain going.
Yeah.
Yeah. To
Totally.
stop that, because even like when I'm doing it, it's still your brain's still like, what am I doing? I need to like I start, and the longer you do it, the less that just comes like kind of fades into the background. It's like background noise. It's interesting.
It's interesting, huh?
Mm-hmm.
and you don't realize how much mental chatter you have until you sit down for like 10 minutes and just think about your breath, and like you stop, you're like, oh shit, that's just going.
That and like even working out, like even just like getting on the like with this pandemic thing, we were so like everything had closed down, but we got a Peloton bike.
Great.
We got and just to be able to like just exercise and breathe and like get a sweat going, like huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got to get the blood flowing.
Yeah.
You know, and it's fucking crazy. Like even as like the older you get, you just know, like you learn how important your daily maintenance is, and when you don't do, I won't jog for like a week, and then for a week you feel like shit. You're like,
oh my
what
God,
the
why
hell?
do I feel so bad? Yeah.
You're like, it's crazy how fast that shift happens. Like you got to stay like on top of it. It's crazy.
Yeah. The older you get, the more.
Yeah. I remember, I think it was during the Black Crown, you were going to the gym after the studio. You were a fucking maniac.
I still do it. Like, well, now that the things are open, like, I can still go. There's a Planet Fitness that opened up right on the corner, like right by the studio.
Oh, great.
So
it's new, right?
I could walk there. It's so
Nice.
so close.
That's awesome.
So it's like, and they're open 24 hours now.
Are
which
they?
is great. Yeah, Planet
Oh.
Fitness is 24 hours.
Damn.
So it's been great
what's
because I
up.
go. It's the same thing. I like going after the studio because it's like my way of decompressing.
Dude, how do you? Okay, because that's special. Because how do you have the willpower after a full day's work to still go? Because that's like when people like, all right, I'm done with the day. I'm gonna go home. How do you go?
Because I've been sitting in front of a damn screen all day, and
Yeah.
I'm all like hunched over, and I'm like, oh, everything hurts. I need to like go and like air it out, essentially.
Whoa.
Like that's how I basically like kind of counteract the whole day of sitting.
And you could go to bed after that? What
I
the
won't do
fuck?
cardio. I don't do like any kind of crazy cardio at night. If I do cardio at night, it'll keep me up.
Yeah.
But if I just do weights,
Nice.
then I get tired afterwards.
Interesting.
Yep. I'll do cardio in the morning and then do weights at night.
Whoa. Well, when you find your thing, you find it.
And that's what works for me, But
Yeah. And then you probably drink coffee at night too, right?
I could drink. Yeah,
Looks
I don't
like a
know.
fucking freak.
It's there's some people. There's like a people that have that weird caffeine like tolerance thing.
Yeah.
And maybe because I drink so much, but I could literally drink a full cup of coffee and go to bed 10 minutes later.
What?
My wife has to cut off at like 2 p.m, the
Yeah.
absolute latest, or she's screwed.
Dude. Yeah, that's it's pretty common. But you man.
I just grew up
that's
around
great.
it. It's weird. My dad's like that. My grandmother was like that. When I used to when she was still alive, when I would like travel back east, like I would fly into JFK, and she was like right by JFK, like, and she's a night owl like I am. Like that's just that's the way my brain is wired. I've always been a night owl.
Yeah.
And like I would call at 11 o'clock at night. I'd get off the plane and I'd call her. She'd be like, "Oh, come on over. I'll make a pot of coffee." And I'd go hang out with my grandmother and like,
Dude, that's sick.
Yep.
Wow. So you and the fresh pot go far back.
Go
man.
way back.
Dang.
And she was making that old school percolator. That's that good coffee.
What's that?
Like it's like the big. It's like looks like a giant metal teapot, and you plug it in, and the coffee.
Oh.
It percolates. It like there's no like real filter, but it's like a fixed metal filter, and essentially because it keeps like bubbling up and brewing over it, so it's double brewing, triple brewing the coffee because it's constantly pushing the coffee through the
What?
grinds. Oh yeah, that's
I
like
never heard of this.
oh yeah. You still get one online. You can get them for like $20.
Dude, I never heard of that. Wow.
That's like that's the real East Coast shit. Like how do you make a real cup of coffee?
That's the Evetts special right there.
That's what I grew up on. That's why when I can drink drip coffee, it's like, what is this stuff? It's like it's weak.
Yeah. So,
Although this is quite a good cup of coffee.
I appreciate that. This was brewed just for you. This is freshly. I was grinding. I grinded it. I timed it. I put the water through a filter. I heat it up at the perfect I'm gonna get really geeky. 196.
Oh, did you do a pour over?
No, French press.
French press. Nice.
Measured out the.
It's very good.
The coffee grounds with
It's
everything.
very, very good. Is there any more?
I think so.
Yeah.
No, I think it's it actually. Sorry.
Ah, that's all good.
I should have known better. I filled the fucking French press. It was like full of coffee, and then I pressed it, and then it fucking exploded in the kitchen.
Oh shit.
And I was like trying to like clean it up because I knew you were really close by. I'm like, oh fuck, I made a mess. But yeah, everything is. There's nothing like a good brewed black cup of coffee.
Nothing like it.
There's nothing like it, dude. I love making people coffee, especially people that haven't had a good cup of black coffee. I'm like, oh wait, you never had like a freshly brewed.
Well, yeah, because everybody's so used to Keurigs now, and
dude,
it's just
totally, it's garbage. It's garbage, dude.
Yeah.
And or at the gas station.
Oh,
or
yeah.
it's like
the coffee with the orange handle that's been sitting there since like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Oof. In the styrofoam cup with like powdered creamer.
Yeah.
The worst.
Dude, you got, oh man, when you have a freshly brewed cup, it's fucking God, life changing. I mean, I get it. Like if you put sugar in coffee, I get it. To me, it's like a drug. I've had it literally a couple times. I can count on one hand how many times I had sugar in my coffee because it's so good that I stay away from it. I'm like, oh, I just want to down this.
Dude, remember when you guys were all about the bulletproof when we were doing You Can't Stop Me?
Oh,
we
yeah.
were just like the butter in the coffee,
the
like
butter,
the full on.
The full on, dude. Yeah, Kerrygold, grass-fed butter, either coconut oil or
MCT.
Yeah, MCT. Man, your brain's on fire, dude.
I just listened to I actually just listened to Dave Asprey on an audiobook, the Game Changers book.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, the guy who the Bulletproof founder. Yeah.
Dave, Dave, great guy.
Interesting. Very interesting.
He has a new book?
I think it's called Game Changers. It's like I don't think it's that new. But
I've heard of that one.
It's great. It's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I remember when you first wrote a book, it was called like the Bulletproof Diet.
Right.
So the Game Changer, I never even heard of that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just finished it. It's fantastic.
Really?
Yeah.
What
There's
is
a
he
lot
talking
of just lots of things, little like biohack, mental hacking stuff,
yeah.
and like, yeah, he's all about it.
Yeah, he's really into like the mental biohacking. The first time I heard biohacking was from Mark. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Then we dove into the Dave Asprey scene. It's crazy. I saw this 6 months ago. They have bulletproof stuff in Walmart now.
I know.
I was
Isn't
like,
that crazy?
whoa, that is crazy.
Yeah, he turned
dude.
that into like some crazy brand. But
Dude, full on branded.
yeah, but it's a lot of like interesting stuff that I'm starting to like trying to explore. Not so much like the biohacking because he used to be full on vegan, and I'm not vegan per se. I still eat eggs, but that's the only thing. Like I don't do meat or do dairy.
Cool.
So like he's fully into he's fully into like all of it. Like he goes like full meatosaurus. You know, like
he's in.
He's in.
Speaking of that, this might ruin it, or you might learn something. Me and Cece just saw Seaspiracy.
I haven't watched it yet. I know. I mean, like I haven't really. I've had like fish a handful of times since like my wife and I went full vegan for a while. She still is.
Yeah.
But I started doing eggs again, like free range eggs.
God, you need eggs, dude.
Yeah, but she watched the Seaspiracy. She's like, I will never touch seafood again. I'm like,
it does that.
Yeah, I know. I know I'm gonna watch it, but I'm like still like I don't want to watch it. Like
yeah, it's like I want to enjoy my sushi.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say, obviously, when you see like a documentary like that, you need to like kind of step back and get like a clear head. Okay, how much of it is fluff? What's real?
Right.
What you gotta okay, what is real and like what's what are they selling? And let's just say the past month, when I ordered Domino's pizza, there's no pepperoni.
Yep.
It made the change, dude.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It just makes you like look at like the mass produce of like the meat and
I
and
can't
fish stuff.
Yeah, I can't. I won't do the meat anymore.
Yeah.
I haven't done it in a while now. And the dairy, I've never been like. I mean, even before I was like not still eating meat, I was not doing because dairy doesn't agree with me at all. So
It doesn't, huh?
no. I haven't done dairy in a long time.
You have? I never seen you drink. Ah, you're right. I never seen you drink milk.
No, never.
Huh?
I've been drinking almond milk for years and years and years.
That's what it is. It's the nut pods.
Yeah. Oh, the
Yes.
nut pods. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like an almond milk type deal for.
The creamer for the coffee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's sick. It tastes so good, man.
It's good. Yeah.
Almonds are great for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been doing the oat milk now. Like that's the big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's that?
It's great. Oat milk, like Oatly is like that's like that's my favorite in the coffee.
Dang.
It's so good.
So, did you find cutting back on meat? Does that help, especially like you? Like, does that help you focus throughout the day when you're like literally there for a 12-hour plus with 5 dudes with egos and trying to get tracks down?
I don't know
Does
if
that
I-
help with focus.
I don't know if I've noticed like a huge difference. I'm assuming I have. Like there's times especially where I really feel really great. But it hasn't been so much. It was more of a, and I'm not saying it's fully a humanitarian thing, like about harming animals, but like ever since, especially ever since we got our dog,
Yeah.
that was like the shift for me, essentially.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Just because it's when you realize this little dude, is like. He's like not a human at all, but he's just like this great, and he feels all this emotion, and you can go to read that stuff, and it's like, what's the difference between a dog and a cow? There's no,
Yeah.
there's no difference. Dog and a pig, no difference.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right. Super tough when you have a pet. You're like, man, it's like they're like alive.
it's like part of your family. It's just like this thing. If you watch its emotions, you watch it react to you and emote, and like. So,
Yeah.
and I'm not one of these guys that are like, oh, I don't walk around preaching to anybody like you shouldn't eat meat, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't
Same,
do that.
yeah.
Like, it's just my
worst.
personal vibe. Yeah.
It's good. Like it's the best. It's very rare, but if I meet like Ross, if you meet like a vegan, but you don't know.
Yeah.
Like they never talk about it or like, oh, that's how you do it, man. It's cool. Just do your own thing. I mean,
yeah, I don't want to preach to anybody about anything, like whatever, religion, diet, like whatever.
Totally. It's a little bit difficult when you're out with your friends, trying not to eat I'll get like a cheese pizza, and we're like, but you don't be like, all right, I'll get a cheese pizza with no pepperoni because I'm not a fucking murderer.
Yeah.
You don't like put it out there. It's just like you just, hey, can I have a cheese pizza? And then like just live your life.
I don't want to be that guy like, oh, you realize what you're doing right now, you're supporting you're propping up an industry that blah 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 blah.
It's shot, dude.
No,
It's shot.
it's not it. It's just not my vibe, and I just that's fine.
Yeah, it's similar to religion. It's like like the people on the corner. It's not the ones that are going to make you probably go to church. It's
No,
like,
they're definitely not.
It's probably not. It's not going to help out. Do you? I never asked you this before. Do you have a favorite record?
That's a loaded question.
It is, huh?
Yeah.
I never asked you before.
God, I have favorite records for numbers of reasons, but no, I can't say I have a favorite record of all time. No, I honestly, I couldn't tell you because I just listen to so much different stuff.
Yeah, I meant like as far as like tracking.
Oh, that I produced?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again,
Loaded question.
loaded question because
Yeah.
I have favorites for lots of different reasons.
Yeah.
It can be like because I love the songs, or I love how the record sonically came out, or
Yeah.
just having a great time. Like it brings back the memories of making in the studio, and just like
Yeah.
the dudes, and like it was just
Yeah.
like it's just different favorites for different reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy how every record like you've done throughout your career, they all mean something.
They all do.
Like they
There's
all
no question about it.
like you just keep building and like 30 years later, I mean you're Steve Evetts, and you're still going.
Yep. Still going.
Not even close.
No.
to being done. Just
Not even
going.
close.
And you've always been very disciplined, and you did really well with always taking care of your ears. I've always seen that.
I
That's
try. The funny thing is that I damaged them early on before I was in the studio, I damage them in like bands and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
my left side is still still some frequencies that aren't there anymore. Like, and I've always had it since my entire career. I've known about it, and like I just know how to like compensate for it essentially.
Yeah.
Because when I was in bands, I was here, the drum kit was here, and I didn't wear earplugs like an idiot because I was 19 years old. Like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
And like the China cymbal right here.
Fuck, dude. So do you find even stuff you did when you were 19 still made lasting damage now?
Oh yeah, there's no question about it. I mean, like I said, my entire career, there's a little bit of a dip like on certain frequencies in my left ear, and I've always known it. I've always had it.
Oh my gosh, that's scary. People need to hear that, man.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta wear
hearing
wear
protection, everybody.
I
just
know.
so you know, wear it. Make sure you wear it.
You have to, and just that you'll lay down and then you hear like that like ringing.
I don't have knock wood. I don't have. There's no tinnitus. There's no ringing.
Oh great.
It's just there's a hole. Like there's a dip like in the frequency response of my left ear.
Wow.
But like I said, it's never not been there. Every single record I made has been like that. But it's not like crazy where it's like I'm deaf in my left ear or anything.
Yeah.
But there's a little whoop. There's
Yeah.
like a little the frequency response, the graph. It's like there's like there's a hole there.
Well, thankfully I'm on the right side, so that's why I always sound better than Mark, right? It's always why does my EQ sound so much sick? Oh, I get the good Steve Evetts here.
Yeah, no. It's like I said, it's never been an issue because it's just
Yeah.
it's just like anything. You know what your deficiencies are, and you learn how to compensate around it.
Yeah, knowing.
I mean,
yeah.
you think about going out of the complete world, but Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys, who wrote all those insane songs
Yeah.
and produced all those records,
Yeah.
he only has one ear. He only has one good ear.
What?
Yeah, he's deaf in one ear. Completely deaf in one ear.
I never knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Didn't matter.
Obviously, it didn't.
Produced, Pet Sounds, produced, Good Vibrations, all those fucking amazing songs.
Wow.
Only could hear out of one ear.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that's crazy.
But then again, some of those records were mixed in mono originally, so it didn't matter. It's truth.
Yeah, back then, yeah, that is 60s, right?
60s.
Yeah, so
It was the original
mono.
mix of Pet Sounds. If you listen to it in mono, it's so much better than the stereo version.
Is it?
It's incredible. It's incredible how much depth and space you can perceive without the left right. You can still hear like there's a whole thing, and even like that's what I do a lot. That's a trick in the studio too, like getting mixes to sound right.
Yeah.
It's like if you can make it sound good in mono, then you're like so far ahead of the game because that's about like establishing basically depth and front to back
Yeah.
in one speaker.
Whoa.
And being able to like listen to all that stuff in one speaker and to be able to discern
Yeah.
between instruments. And then once you spread it out in stereo, and then you've got the left right to help the space. But if you can get it to sound good in mono, you're like, that's how you do it.
That's sick. That would explain so much creativity and with those mixes and why there is so much depth in those mixes because they learned to master the mono.
They had to. That was originally stereo was like the stepchild. The format originally was mono. Like everybody made records in mono, and stereo was an afterthought.
Wow. And then when they had stereo, they put drums on one side and vocals on the other.
It's very funny when you hear those like Beatles records where the drums are just in the left.
Yeah.
That was because the stereo mix they did that after the fact. There was complete afterthought. They would spend all their time on the mono mix, and then go, okay, now we have to do a stereo one. I don't know, put the drums over there, put the guitar, put the vocal over there.
What?
Like that was their rough way of. There was no real pan pots like to go in between.
Yeah.
It was there was like most of the old mixing consoles. It was a switch. It was left, center, right. That's it.
That's it.
You only had that.
Oh, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, so you only had 3 options.
You only had 3 options.
Yeah, put the drums over there.
Yep. Drums on the left. I don't know. That sounds all right. That's cool.
Sorry, Ringo, but yeah, you're going over there. Dang, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Wow.
stereo was a complete afterthought. Like the Beatles stuff, which is Beatles are still my favorite record, my favorite band of all time. First record they did that was actually in stereo was Abbey Road. It was like actually the first real stereo. The first song they actually mixed specifically for stereo was Hey Jude.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I know that.
Yeah, even the White Album was originally, that was like mono, and then they would do the rest of the, Abbey Road was the first real stereo Beatles record.
That would explain it. I don't know why when I listen to Beatles, I always go to Abbey Road. There's like this, they were on some different shit then. I'm like, what? Why does it sound like it's massive?
Yep.
It's a heavy record, man.
It's a great record.
Abbey Road, wow, dude.
So good.
Boom, boom. I was like, what is?
The remix stuff is unbelievable. George Martin's Kid.
Yeah.
Remixed. He did new mixes of Sgt. Pepper. He did a new mix of the White Album. He did a new mix of Abbey Road.
Whoa.
So they were essentially they reassembled the stuff because how they did stuff in the past, like Abbey Road was the most they ever had was an 8-track tape machine.
Yeah.
So they had 8 tracks. So you do the 8 tracks, you bounce it down, you do a mix down of the 8 tracks, then they would to a stereo. They would then take that stereo mix, put it on a new fresh piece of tape on 2 tracks, and then layer more things.
Whoa.
And then mix that down, and then layer again. That's how they would do it. That's how they did like Sgt. Pepper on a 4-track. It was like they fill up the 4 tracks, bounce it down, put it on fresh tape to 1 track or 2 tracks, layer on 2 or 3 more, bounce it down, go back, layer it, layer it, layer it. So they had all the tapes archived. Like here's the first reduction mix. They call them reduction mixes. So
Yeah.
they went backwards and pulled out the individual tracks through each layer of tape, and then put it all in like Pro Tools and lined it all up. So they had actual like full on like 48 track mixes or whatever. And George Martin's Kid did new mixes. I'm not a huge fan of the Sgt. Pepper one. The White Album is amazing. The job he did on the White Album was incredible.
So check out the new mix on the White
The
Album.
new mix on the White Album is completely sick. It altered my perspective of that record completely.
Really?
And Abbey Road is hit and miss.
Yeah.
There's some stuff that's unbelievable. The new mix he did of Come Together is so sick.
Oh, I got to hear it.
It's so great.
How recent is this?
Last year, 2 years ago, last year,
That's pretty recent.
2 years ago. Yeah, 2019, I think.
I got a question because I know people are thinking this, so I'll just ask it. Is that on Spotify? Or no?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Because there's the very common thing is like there's always like the remastered version.
Yeah.
You always see that.
This is the remaster, but this is the new mix thing. It's on there.
Wow, that's sick. Stereo.
And he really
Beatles.
like honored the original mix. I liked when it basically feels like the original mix,
Yeah.
but it just has some added depth and dimension to it.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's times where they got a little cute with certain things to make it a little more weird.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I guess I get it, but I just, I want to hear what I want to hear.
Oh yeah.
I'm selfish in that way. but,
Totally.
yeah.
Oh, you fucking ruined it, but this
Yeah.
is sick.
Yeah.
It must be touching like a Beatles mix.
I know.
Yeah,
That would be like
probably
the
tough,
weirdest
huh?
thing. Yeah. I don't, if I was tasked to do it,
Yeah.
I don't know how I could improve it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things now getting remixes and stuff like that, like old classic records. There's a lot of people that are doing stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm like, man, I just don't know how I would, like, if somebody offered me, like, whatever, an Iron Maiden record, and it's like, remix this.
Yeah.
And it's like, I love this record's perfect. Why am I going to remix it?
Yeah. You like get it and then you send it back. I'm done.
I'm done. That's it. Here's the mix.
Yeah. Fucking pay me.
Yeah.
I remixed it, dude. I gave it a listen and figured out that it's done.
I don't know if I would, want to. I couldn't make it modern and give it a. It would be just weird.
It's weird, huh?
It's weird. It's weird. I would just like to more have the multi-track just to listen to it and listen to the time capsule and
Yeah.
be stoked on that more than anything.
Yeah.
Just be like, check this out. Oh my God, this is so cool. Listen to the vocal solo. Like, oh, listen to that.
That's so
Like,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have multi tracks to a few songs, and you'll just start playing it in the studio, and you'll be so stoked on like one part.
Mm-hmm.
What's the song you always played? You always played one song.
I don't remember which one. Was it Queen?
Yeah, it's Queen.
Oh yeah, Killer Queen.
Yeah,
The guitar solo.
yeah,
So good.
that's sick.
Yeah.
When you hear stuff solo, it's like it. It's not a diss, but it when you hear stuff solo, it makes it more human.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh wait, that sounds like that person playing.
Yeah. Well, and also like when you really hear it soloed, again, it's the hearing those imperfections. It's not perfect at all.
Yeah, love that.
I mean, that's where all the imperfections on any recording. It's where the magic lies. It's
Totally.
not. The magic is in the cracks. It's not on a grid or like perfectly in pitch or any of that crap. You know.
Yeah,
That's where all the magic is.
totally. Love hearing those like solo stuff. Remember like, it was on YouTube. I found like some track. It was Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic. It was someone just posted John Berchante's track, the whole record. It's not even. It's just an hour of like just him. I was
Right.
like, fuck it, I'll click it and listen. Just sat there and listened. I'm like, what the fuck's he doing?
Oh yeah.
It was like, again, it was like sloppy, but I heard shit I didn't hear before. It was so sick. I'm like, dude, that sounds like someone playing guitar, and it changed my whole perspective on that band.
Dude, you
It was
ever
insane.
listen to Christian James Hand
No,
on? He's on. What is it? KLOS. He does wherever Heidi and Frank, the talk show guys in the morning.
yeah,
They do. He does this segment, and he does this stuff on Instagram, the Session IG Live thing.
okay,
He always breaks down, like he'll get multi-tracks. He's got access to like gazillion multi-tracks of like
nice,
classic things,
yeah,
and dude, go check it out. It's amazing. He'll
Wow.
post, if you follow him on Instagram. He breaks down like multi-tracks, just be soloing things and just listening
Love
to
that.
it and like check it out. It's like,
I love that.
oh my god, it's just so great. He broke down the Black Crowes Remedy the other day.
Nice.
Oh my god, just the piano part, the keyboard part, and the guitar playing. Oh, it's just so fucking good.
Yeah,
So inspired and just so like, and it was all cut live too, which is like,
do
you know.
live.
yeah.
Got to do a live record again.
Mm-hmm. Let's go, man.
Let's
I'm
do it.
ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it, man. It's all being in the same room and just fucking look at each other.
Oh, that would be just the best. I would love to do that.
Yeah, how is that possible?
What do you mean as far as like,
Yeah, you got to get everyone in a room to start tracking.
mm-hmm.
Because
We could do it.
I want other bands to hear like to hear this too. Like, it's possible. Maybe fucking try it out.
Mhm.
Either track live or something. Try different shit.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's so crazy to me because, like, obviously, there's a lot of stuff we do in the studio, and does a lot of overdubs or whatever.
Yeah.
But even when we would track the basics, we always track basics with the live band,
Yeah.
with everybody playing, even if there were scratches, because
Yeah.
there's a vibe that happens. There's a thing that happens between everybody playing together.
Yeah.
That's just like, I don't understand producers who like record drums last. Like, people do that.
Well,
It's the craziest thing to me. Like,
Huh.
they'll use programmed drums and then they'll track all the guitars to the programmed drums, so everything's like super like stiff and like super like gridded and like whatever, and then like track the drums at the end.
hmm
And like, I guess it works for some people. It doesn't work for me. I just don't. It doesn't. It's like literally, you build a house and then you put the basement in last. It's like, what the hell is going on there? Like, you
Yeah.
pour the foundation last.
Totally.
Like, how do you do that? Like, it doesn't make any sense. The drummer sets the tone and the vocal sets the tone, but it's just like,
Totally.
it's a huge thing.
Remember, someone was editing our drums and they're putting everything into a grid.
Oh my!
I was
God.
like, "What the fuck you doing, man? This is take all the love and passion out."
Oh, dude, we had to recut all those. Like, I got back the first one. I'm like, dude, what'd you do? Remember, it was just,
Yeah.
we were trying to play it. We're like, what is this? I was like, okay. I guess that's why we took extra time finishing the record, because I had to re-edit all the drums.
Crazy. it's it's good that you have that experience because you know both sides. You know the old school way, you know the modern way, you know the in between way, and you probably have a respect for the whole scope of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people and they started in this new thing, and that's the first thing they fucking learn. Okay, you put the drums in the grid, and then this is what you do. That's like to someone, that's the first thing they learned.
I know, and
It's tough.
like it's weird because I find myself like this, like act like the cranky old guy, like in my day, this is how we used to do it, and this is how real records are made. And it's like,
Oh my hip.
yeah, ow, my.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to a Denny's now and complain about the menu.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
like, but seriously, like, I get it, and like, you know, more power to people that can make a record that way and make it still sound like fresh and exciting. But to me, it doesn't sound fresh and exciting. It just sounds really stiff and stale.
Yeah.
I can't do it. You know, like there's something inside me that just like, maybe to my detriment, but like I can't make a record like an assembly line.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a full Luddite where it's like everything can't be like, you know, that loose or whatever, but like, because I just internally, it's the way I want to hear certain things, but
Yeah.
there has to be, it's never about making it like, I like, you know, punching in, doing things till it sounds tight to me, but it has to feel tight, not sound tight necessarily. It's more about the feel. It's just internally what I'm feeling. It's what I'm craving. It's just like, excuse me. I just want it just to feel a certain way.
Totally.
And it's the same thing of like when I still, every once in a while, I still get to make a record on tape.
Nice.
And it's like, when I do that, it's the greatest thing ever. Because it's like, I did a record for this Brazilian rock band called Ego Kill Talent. It just came out, actually. But we did the record like 2 years ago. But, you know, obviously because of the pandemic, it
I remember
just
you
came
talking
out.
about that record.
Yeah, we did the record at 606
I remember
at
you
the
talking about that.
Foo Fighters place.
Nice.
And we did it primarily to tape. I dumped it onto Pro Tools afterwards, but like it was like the greatest thing ever. Because for me, like it was like a drowning person coming up for air finally. I was like, oh, thank God. Like it was so good. Because like just playing tape and punching in on tape and like listening to the sound come out of the speakers, and if you're overdubbing guitar, like reacting to it rather than like looking at a screen going, okay, here's where you come in. It's like, no, don't look at the fucking screen. Listen to the music coming out of the speakers and play along.
Huh.
It's like the best thing ever. Because, you know, you listen back to it and it whether on a subconscious level or not, like looking at that screen, it's like, this isn't that tight. But is it? It doesn't matter. Who cares?
Yeah.
Listen to AC/DC, Back in Black. It's like, I guarantee you, if you put all that shit on a grid, like, or put it on into Pro Tools and looked at the screen, when you hear the song back in, like, bah, psh, bah, like you hear those downbeat. I guarantee you, where the kick is and where the guitar is, they're probably like in Pro Tools, it probably looks like the Grand Canyon. How big the gap is. No, seriously.
Yeah.
But that gap is what makes the thing sound so huge.
Totally.
It's like everybody going, and everything. It's like breathing as one. It's just like this big.
Yeah.
It's everything together. It's this giant. You know.
Yeah. I wonder. Which I have not heard a band do it yet successfully. Is it'd be kind of cool to track everything that like what you're saying live to tape, sounds sick, but then maybe have someone else come in that's like super like new modern and put like a polished modern mix to it. I wonder like that dynamic sound.
Yeah.
I want how do you think that would sound and feel?
It could sound good. There's no question about it. I mean, that's what I try. I've always tried to ride that line.
Yeah.
To try and like still make it feel old school, but you know, have the mix when I mix the records, try to still have it sound. I don't want it to sound too like it was made in 1975.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Okay, you don't want that. Yeah.
No, I mean unless that's the intention.
Sure.
But I try to give it a modern twist, but not
Totally.
make it sound too robotic either. That's the problem. Is like a lot of
Yeah.
that stuff it just winds up sounding robotic,
Yeah.
and I never want that. I want it to feel like that Ego Kill Talent record I did. Like, you know, it has a modern polish to it, but
Nice.
we did it to tape, and like we did it old school.
I gotta
So-
hear that record.
I love how it came out. It's great. And, you know, tracking there at the Foo's place and tracking on the Sound City console and tracking a tape
Dude.
and, you know, just the best.
Dude, me and Alex been wanting to go there for a long,
Oh,
long,
yeah.
long,
Yeah, I'm
long
about
time.
to, I'm actually about to go back there for another project. So,
Really?
yeah, I'm very excited.
Sick,
Yeah.
dude. Man, how is it being in that room?
Well, it's great. You know, it's cool because it's the Foo's place and whatever, and that's all fine and good. But the studio itself is a great sounding control room, which I love, and it's a big control room. I love that. I love like bigger control rooms. You don't feel so claustrophobic,
Yeah.
and just everything sounds great. You can hear everything perfectly. It's just the room itself is fantastic. The live room is enormous. It's almost too big.
Yeah.
But there's no history in the room per se because the studio's only been built for you know, not even 10 years. It's been, you know, or maybe it's been 10. It's somewhere around there. It's not like it's not an old classic room. It was built recently,
Yeah.
you know, and say in the last 10, 12 years. The Sound City console is great. I mean, I did quite a few projects in Sound City before it closed.
Did you really?
Mhm.
I never knew that.
Yep. Yeah, I did quite a few things at Sound City.
What'd you do there?
I did a couple of EPs. I worked with Ross there a couple times. I did a Static Lullaby. We did drums on the self-titled record. We
Really?
did there. Yeah, I did He Is Legend there. Yep.
I never knew that.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so I gotta check out Static. They're self-titled. Okay. And that was the
That
drums.
was their third record we did at Sound City. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
What'd you do with Ross there?
We did a couple little projects there. We actually did a full band remix of a Lenny Kravitz song.
Sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lenny Kravitz is heavy, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. We did it was like a remix, but it was basically just, we did a band. Russ assembled a band and we recorded a new version of music with just flew in Lenny's vocals off of Pro Tools.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool that you got to see that room before it was no more.
Yeah. It's still there now. It's open again, but with a different console in there and whatever.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Since when?
It reopened a while ago. At first, somebody bought it, and this French guy bought it and put this old Helios desk in there, which is like another old classic console. And then he pulled out, and then someone else is in there, and there's like a Neve type console in there. It is a Neve console with like a Evetts redone Neve console.
Huh.
Yeah.
How's it sound?
I haven't tracked there. I mixed something that was tracked there on the Helios desk, and it sounded great.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Man, I can only imagine being in that room, dude. Like Nirvana was in that fucking room.
Mm-hmm. The live room looks, from the pictures I saw, looks exactly the same. They haven't really touched the live room really. The control room is way different now. There's no shag carpet on the walls or anything like that.
Yeah.
And they kind of redid the lounge area, and like, you know, Sound City was never like this, like, oh, look at this cool place. It was less like, it was a very dingy kind of dirty, but it was great because the
Love
history
that.
of that place, you know.
Yeah.
Like I said, the control room's small, and there's shag carpet. There used to be shag carpet on the walls. There was no real treatment in
Yeah.
you know, it's crazy.
Man, what's your take with, especially with the whole like modern way of recording? We all want to, you know, do things cheap and stuff, but what's your take of like recording in those rooms that have all that history? Is there something to it?
Yeah, there is. I think so. I mean, it's just like I like, but I'm also like a history buff. Like in life, I was always like a history buff. Like
Yeah.
just to go to certain places and like you just kind of feel the ghost in a certain room. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
even like as a sports fan, like I wasn't a sports fan, but I was a baseball fan.
Yeah.
Like when I lived back east and going to the original Yankee Stadium and like, you walk in and it's like, this is the place where Babe Ruth actually played and,
Yeah.
Lou Gehrig played and Mickey Mantle played and like
Mm-hmm.
just the ghost of it, or going to Fenway Park, same thing. Like
Yeah.
you see all these, classic, all this history of the stuff. I like history, and I really feel like places have a memory or a soul of like all the energy that's passed through them.
Yes.
And like going to Sound City and knowing, Dio Holy Diver was done there and Nirvana was
Yeah.
done there, and like, even the console, like, like what's passed through this console. Like
Yeah.
when I did the Cure record, we rented the old console from EMI Studio 3 that Dark Side of the Moon was recorded and mixed on. And we tracked
Whoa.
the whole Cure record through that console, and just to pull those, it's like, this is
Yeah.
like, oh my God, like you feel the ghost of it.
Yeah.
And we tracked at Olympic Studios, which is like, how many fucking Jimi Hendrix and how many classic records were made in this
Wow.
room. And even the Beatles recorded like All You Need Is Love in this room. And like there's I sat down at the Bosendorfer piano that like John Lennon played in the video for All You Need Is Love, and like I'm playing the song
Yeah.
and like freaking myself out, like, oh
Yeah.
my God, this is awesome. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So.
So I think that plays a part in it. But I think also, to anybody who makes records just in their bedroom, I think everybody should have the experience of making a record in a proper studio with a producer. I think that's a huge that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
I really do. Even guys who do the stuff themselves in their own bands, and there's a lot of them are very skilled at what they do. They're skilled producers, and they record their own stuff and they record their own material. But I think having the outside ear and outside perspective, you can't put a value on that. I think that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
I think, some bands can get away with producing themselves, self-producing, but I feel like at least once in every band's career, or musician's career, they should have they should have the experience of working with an outside producer and gaining someone else's perspective on how to approach things and how to do things.
Yeah. That's true. And that's you get experience, and you get and you learn.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really. This one thing that bands really talk about is you don't learn anything when you're trying to save all this money, and it's just you guys tracking a record and putting it out. Even if it sounds great, you don't learn very much of anything. You got to like literally go out and bring like somebody else in, and then you learn, and then you could transfer that to the rest of your career.
It's true. There's the old scientific saying that nothing exists within a vacuum.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. That's an absolute truth.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely believe that, and as being on both sides, you want to go to producer, or you want to go to engineer, or now we should do the records ourselves. We just save a bunch of money, and then fuck Steve Evetts, let's just do it in here, save a bunch of money. But once it come back to reality, we're like, okay, there is like a middle ground, and there is something to be said when you bring in somebody else that has fresh eyes, a fresh soul, fresh ears.
Yeah.
And
how
experience.
many times, like, even in pre-production, we were like, because you run in a bubble, you're running in circles. You go, oh man, this is right. This is good. Well, we can't really figure out how to do this.
Yeah.
And all one person has to say is one thing. It could be literally the slightest little idea.
Yeah.
But what about that?
Yeah.
All of a sudden you open up a new road and you go, oh, look. And then that inspires you.
Yeah.
It's not even necessarily that I go, here's the way forward.
Yeah.
But I could literally say one thing that will spark you to think about it and look at something differently.
Yeah.
And then you take it from there. I
Yeah.
think there's such a value in that, like just that perspective
Totally.
to like help you see a different way.
Totally. Yeah,
You know?
it's huge. And we need it, especially when we're just so close, and like you got the tunnel vision, just like it's all you see.
Yeah,
and
you
you need
get
like
the
someone to like kind of like slap you, hey, try,
yeah.
there's all this.
But like I said, it's not even like, hey, try this. It's
Yeah.
literally, what about that? And then, like I said, I could literally just go. I could say 2 words,
Yeah.
and that inspires you to think differently.
Yeah.
And then I just step back. Like I
Uh-huh.
used to. The older I get, the more is like you realize when to push it or when to just and then go, you guys know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I just gave you a little, here's a fork in the road. Take that fork and see where you guys go with the fork in the road.
Yeah.
And like it's took me a long time to figure that out because it was always used to be like the sheer force of will. No, this is the way. I'm telling you, just do this, do that. No.
Yeah.
But it's sometimes it's just like point you in the direction and then sit back and get in the back seat and go, okay, let's see where you guys go with this now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
being on the other side, not being that band that I'm about to talk about, is how do you deal with like, okay, like this is kind of like a mess, and how do I fix it?
Sometimes again, it's just more about, okay, is it a mess or is it just you just need to point them in a different direction.
Okay.
It's just as simple as that. Sometimes you have to be heavy-handed, and I've done that too, but it's never from a point of like I know better. It's just like, okay, well, let's see if my whole goal always has been to just like, all right, what are you guys doing? Let's make this the best it can be. Let's take you and maximize what you're doing.
Yeah.
And make it the best version of that. It's not necessarily to point to go, no, that's the wrong direction completely. It's like, okay, I see where you're going with this, but how do we make this the best version of going left? And not go, no, you need to go right.
Yeah. It's probably tough, especially when you're dealing with, a bunch of egos. It's tough.
And there's that whole, it's like, so many people ask me, it's like, what do you, well, you produce records, so what does that mean? And it's like, oh boy, where do I start?
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of things, and to sometimes to get there, you have to deal with, and then dealing with the interpersonal dynamics of the band and knowing
Totally.
who's what and
Totally.
who you have to kind of soft pedal it a little bit and to get around that and like, but it's always just the end goal is the best thing, the best possible, outcome, at least the best one you can hope for.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's so much is so difficult to like kind of, and especially you have experience too with like working with the same band, but also multiple records and multiple, even throughout a decade, and past on you've seen different versions of a band, and you kind of have, maybe you probably have to evolve with like the band, and well, okay, wait, actually this is different. Now we got to try this.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's definitely a different thing. I mean, even going from my experience with you guys, obviously, going from the first record with Mitch, and then starting pre-production on the next one, and then the unfortunate thing happened with Mitch, and then just stepping back and like letting you guys heal and do what you had to do.
Yeah.
But then when we dove into the You Can't Stop Me record, I feel like on now, how many years, 8 years post, almost, thinking like, no, we'll just kind of like do this and we'll make it like it was, but the same, but different, but
Yeah.
And then, I think that in retrospect, we probably would have done things a little differently on certain things. And other things I wouldn't change.
Of course.
But I feel like we really tried to like force it back into that box in a way.
Totally.
And then, you guys did the record with Ross, and, you went off and experimented and did what you felt like you needed to do there.
Yeah.
And then when it came time to do the new record, it came from such a pure place. It didn't come from a place of like we're trying to force anything. It just felt very natural again.
Yeah.
Like it did when we did the Black Crown.
Yeah.
Like it felt completely natural. It didn't feel like we were forcing anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the Black Crown was kind of cool. I kind of realized I don't think Steve Evetts ever got like an optimal Suicide sounds. There's always something going on. You got Black Crown, which is a great record, but you know we're all fucking drunk and we're still you know a bunch of druggies. And then next one is with a new singer.
Next one's a new singer.
And the next one is without Alex. We haven't really had like a fucking optimal.
Well, hopefully we get to do that.
There we go. And it's crazy how long it takes you. You know, to get like a straight head, you know, and get everyone and also everyone else on the same page with like a good thought process, a healthy thought process, and it takes a long for us, dude. I mean, well over 10 years of like just you know now we're finally maybe like we're all in a pretty good headspace and
you know the funny thing is the Black Crown thing. Yeah, there was I mean, I didn't really see it as much because you guys kind of like. Hit it for me in a way.
Yeah.
Like all the crazy drug use. I know you were smoking a lot of weed, but like nothing else. I didn't really see a lot of the other stuff that was still going when I found out after the fact that was going on internally with the band. But like,
of course.
But that was also fueled by youth. I mean, you still had a lot of that, like, you know, you against the world, like fuck it attitude, and like there was a lot of just like youthful piss and vinegar that went into that record. For
That's
sure.
True. Yeah, yeah.
And like that overcame a lot of
it's true.
That thing.
No,
you know what I mean?
You're right.
But I feel like the fire we got on the last record was pretty damn awesome. Despite the fact that, you know, Al wasn't there, but, you know, at least in spirit he was, you know.
Yeah, he was.
For sure.
You know, he was I just did a track with him last month
in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Al like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
At Chris Hornbrook's birthday party.
That's great.
Yeah,
I heard.
Yeah.
He was pumped. He's like, I hung out with Steve Evetts and Chris and I saw Jeff and I saw Greg. I'm like, damn, it was fucking badass.
Yeah, it was fun.
He was fucking pumped.
Yeah, I saw him. Yeah, it was like what he left. What did he leave Tuesday?
He just left.
He just left Tuesday. So it was last week. I saw Chris. I saw Alex.
And he brought the like, this is what I've been wanting to hear for a long time, man.
That was the theme for the podcast. Is what you did? Yeah. Awesome.
Went there. It's literally got tones same day. Tracked. It's been done. And Alex fucking brought it, man. I'm fucking super proud of him. It's like the way you played. I'm like, oh
yeah.
I haven't heard that in a long or seen it in a long time. It was really it's cool. It's again it goes back to what we were talking about when we first started chatting. It just sucks how long it takes you just to come back around, dude, and have that retrospect and that experience to learn. It just sucks that it has to be that way, man.
Yeah, but you know, it's up. But it's also I look at it as like, just think of the gratitude you have just that you actually kept pushing to get there, and you actually got there, because so many other people would have just like said, "Fuck it," and just stopped.
Yeah,
given up. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Because it's hard. Like the internal thing is a very hard thing.
It is
to really get there and to recognize it.
Yeah, know? It is a lot of man, so humbling when you have those realizations and then you realize like your weaknesses that are affecting you, other people, the band, the people that work with you, family. It's like how it just affects everything when you know, I'm guilty. I've been pointing a finger plenty of times. You know, what's up with Steve Evetts? What's up with Mark? What's up with Eddie? What's up with Dan Kenyon? What's up with Alex? I've always pointed the finger. Then once like you have these realizations, it's so humbling, dude. You're like, oh wait, this is me. This is me, man. This is my doing, my fault, and it's so. Yeah, it will bring you to your knees, man.
It will, because you always go, what you're doing, you see how it's affecting me? It's like,
Yeah.
You go, what about me?
What about
me? It's
Yeah.
like, no. It is me. It's my reaction to it.
yeah.
It's like,
The me was actually, yeah, you're
oh
right.
yeah,
too.
you're right. It's me. Yeah.
Dude,
It's so fucked. It's so
it's-
crazy.
it's fucked, man.
It's just like that little aha moment you have. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Dude, it's. Oh
You know,
my God,
honestly,
fucked.
there's been so much that's obviously been fucked. Like, we did this killer record, and 2 weeks later, the world shut down. You
Yeah.
know, the record came out 2 weeks later, the world shut down. You haven't gotten to tour yet, which hopefully you are gonna soon in a few
feeling
months.
good. Yeah.
But this lockdown has been such a blessing in a lot of ways because
Yeah.
it's made so many people realize so many things that
Mhm.
they took for granted.
Totally.
You know,
Totally.
it's been just. Luckily, I've managed to keep working with mostly mixing. You know, through
Yeah.
this whole thing, and I'm starting to like actually start recording again, which is great.
Nice.
But you know, my wife and I are vaccinated. It's great. Like we're actually go out and not worry about too much. You know, not like
Yeah.
I'm licking doorknobs or anything like that. But you know, but
Almost there.
almost there. But just the fact, just when going to Chris Hornbrook's birthday party,
That's
like
great.
hanging out with a group of people.
Yeah.
The first time I've done it in a year. It's crazy.
Wow.
Like that many people like hanging out together, like just having a meal. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
It's a trip. And just being able to appreciate like what we still get to do what I still get to do for a living. Like it's like, wow, this is fucking crazy. It's awesome. Like
Yeah.
it's everything. Like, and I've grown to appreciate what I do even more, and I've never not appreciated it. But like,
Yeah.
it's like when you get it taken away from you, it's like, oh God,
Yeah.
unbelievable. But I got to spend way more time with my wife. I got married last year.
Congratulations.
Like, thank you.
That's dope.
You know, like she's working from home still, and it's just like I've never seen this much of her before. We never get to see,
Yeah.
you know, because I would, you know, the hours I work in the studio, it's like
Mhm.
we were like 2 shifts passing in the night. Like I see her, you know, like wake up in the morning, she goes to work, oh, bye, hon, give her a kiss, like, you know. And then like I'd see her, like if we would have Jagger in the studio, like when we were making the record, she would come and pick him up, like on the way home from work, and I'd see her for a second, give her a
Yeah.
kiss, and she would take Jagger home at night, and like, but like now it's like I see her every morning. I, you know, wake up, I kind of come in there and make her a cup of coffee or whatever,
Yeah.
and I like get to actually talk to her, and it's been
Beautiful.
it's been awesome.
Yeah. It's that was only possible with what happened. So you're right. It was kind of like for a lot of people. I think for us, I mean, it was a blessing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look at what you did. Now you're doing this.
It's
Like,
crazy.
you wouldn't have probably done this if you were on the road for the past year.
No.
Promoting Become the Hunter.
No, finally I had time. Finally I had the spiritual, emotional capacity to take on something this serious.
Was it that you thought of this? Were you thinking about it, or was it from the, like I said, because when I saw the set, I was like, this reminds me of like when your Q&A session when after the live stream stuff.
Yeah.
Was that when you kind of thought about doing it, or was that like were you thinking about doing it before that?
I've been thinking about doing a podcast for right when Eddie joined the band.
Oh, no kidding.
That many years.
Wow.
It's been a thought. I'm like, I almost had a podcast, but just didn't have the emotional capacity to do it. It was so like there's so much going on with the band and then myself. So finally like had like some realizations and then had the time to do it. So fuck it,
Awesome, man.
going in.
But yeah, look at that. Look what happened here. You doing this thing, you know?
Thankfully blessed. I get to have these amazing conversations with you, like Ross. I known you for over 10 years.
I know.
And
It's crazy.
this is like by far the best conversation we've ever had. And there's like these cool things that are happening that I'm again like this year has been definitely like a secret blessing.
Mm-hmm. I know. Well, Alex got married. Mark
Awesome.
got married.
Yeah, I went to their both the weddings on an iPad. It was cool.
So crazy.
I didn't know it was Mark was what he was talking about. It's like, yeah, I'm getting married. So I knew he only had a very few select people. So I'm honored that I was a part of it. And it was a trip. I was in the living room where mom and dad were on an iPad
Watching Mark get married.
watching Mark get married. I was like, it was very surreal. I'm like, this is happening right now. We're on an iPad. He's getting married, and there's just no way. I went, shit. I don't have a speech prepared. Like, I don't know what to say. It was like, wow. And then like a fucking 2 weeks later, Alex did the same thing. I was like,
We all got married within like weeks of each other.
yeah. And then you and Jen got married shortly after.
Mark was before us. We were August 14th when we got married. So I think Mark was like right after us or right before us, and then Alex
Maybe.
was like October or September.
You might
right?
You might be right. How did you do it?
Courthouse went to
Courthouse?
Yeah, went to the county registrar in Downey.
And that was it.
That was it.
There's no.
We never were planning on having a big wedding.
Yeah.
We were going to just go to the courthouse in Long Beach,
Yeah.
like literally we live across the street from the courthouse, the Long Beach courthouse.
Yeah.
And we were just planning on doing that and then flying back east and like having dinner with like Jen's mom and my dad and like
Yeah.
my sister and Jen's sister and the end.
Yeah.
But we couldn't even do that because of the pandemic. We couldn't even fly back east.
Totally.
And we couldn't even have we were going to do it via Zoom, like invite people. That we were doing away with the Zoom thing. So literally we just went to we finally couldn't even get our marriage license. We were going to do it in May, but the office was closed, so we couldn't even get our marriage certificate.
Oh.
We applied for it, and then finally, like, beginning of August, they're like, you can come get your marriage certificate. And we like, we got it. We just went and got it. And then they're like, hey, do you want to, you want to do it next Friday? We're like, we looked at each other like, okay.
Wow.
That was it. We got married.
Well,
9 years later, but
another
better late than
blessing.
never.
Yeah. Dang, dude, better late than never.
Yeah.
I mean, after 9 years, you have a pretty solid.
And I think we were, pretty much determined that we were going to be together.
Speaking of you being indecisive outside the studio.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go, Steve.
Exactly. See?
That's cool.
Like producer Steve probably would have been married, 8 years before that.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing.
And here we are still trying to figure out how to transfer us to the outside world.
Uh-huh.
It's weird.
Always trying to figure it out.
It's
Still.
fucking weird. So you're making me feel more comfortable. I'm like, all right, this is like
All right,
a
I'm doing all
normal
right.
thing.
I'm doing okay.
This is a normal thing. People outside the element, you feel like, oh wait, what am I doing?
Yeah.
How do I be me?
Yep.
It's so weird.
Ross too. Ross got married, this year too.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yep.
I never thought that guy was gonna get married ever.
Yeah.
Proud of him, man. I'm proud of Ross.
I am too.
So fucking cool.
I just spoke to him last night.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hadn't caught up with him in a while, so.
It's great.
Yeah, we've known each other 22 years.
22 years.
Yeah.
How'd you guys meet?
We met, I mixed a record that he produced, Amen.
Oh.
That's how.
That was it?
That's how we met. Well, and Barisi. Joe, that's how we all became friends. Off this one record. Because Joe was mixing the record and Joe got fired. And then I
What?
mixed the record.
Whoa.
And then,
Damn.
Joe and I became friends because of that. And Ross and I became friends like pretty much instantly when I was mixing that record in New York.
Yeah, Ross loves you, man.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, you guys have a very cool friendship.
Yep.
22 years, huh?
22 years. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy, huh?
Yeah.
I need to jam that record. Amen.
Yep.
That's a very rare Ross record that I never jammed.
Mm-hmm. And that was like the old days. That was like done at Indigo Ranch.
Yeah, I need to fucking jam that shit. I was just thinking, thank you for introducing me to Ross. It was
Yep.
during the Black Crown at 7-Eleven. Me and Mark, Dan Kenny were
I
buying
drove
beer.
you up to.
Right.
I drove you up. I sent you up to his because we borrowed something from him. We borrowed an amp or something from him, right? Wasn't that what it was?
Remember, we met him at 7-Eleven first.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Remember that? Where it was like...
Oh, no. He was right by the studio. He was at the 7-Eleven by my studio.
It was so random.
Yep.
We were just buying beer. The day was over. Like you and we happened to both go to 7-Eleven and we're buying beer and like you're like, do you know Ross? I was like,
That's right.
This is not fucking happening at midnight at 7-Eleven in fucking Garden Grove.
I forgot about that. That's so funny. That's right. I introduced you to Ross then. Yep.
I know. And then you did a fucking double whammy. Is like you were being really fucking cool. Like you were sending me and I think it was Alex to drop off that mic.
That's what it was. It was the mic. Yep.
Because you knew what a big fan I was, and you're like, and you were pushing me to do it. I'm like, I don't want to go.
I don't want to go.
I'm nervous.
Yeah.
But so,
like, just go.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
It's so funny how like you meet someone that you look up to, and you're so weird when it happens, but then when you're done, you're like, oh, so fucking cool. You're like, oh my god, if I made an ass for myself, whatever.
Yeah, I completely forgot about the 7-Eleven thing. That's so funny, man.
So random how you can meet one of your heroes in a 7-Eleven. It happened. We're just buying beer.
Buying beer.
We probably shouldn't have been.
Buying beer going back to your Motel 6.
Yeah.
The Motel 6 there.
We got fucking banned from. Fuck.
What, because you had the extra... You had too many people in the room? Is that what it was?
Yeah, DK and Mark had the bed, so I brought my fucking spare. And obviously, something happened where we didn't... There's a miscommunication, and then we showed up one day, and our shit was outside.
They just threw it out.
They were just looking for reasons, dude. It was fucked.
So funny, man.
But nothing that a fresh pot can't fix.
Nothing.
You know, she showed up the next day, and you made a fresh pot, and it's all good to go.
It's all good.
It's fucking sick. Well, Steve, I don't want to take too much of your time, man.
Dude, it's a pleasure, man. Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure, man. Thank you for making the drive. You came from Long Beach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Well, I came from the studio.
Okay.
Actually.
Oh, nice.
Came from Garden Grove, yeah.
And you got to go back, huh?
I'm going to go back because I'm working on a mix right now for an Australian band.
Nice.
So I'm trying to I've been working a little later because the schedule is, they're 17 hours ahead. So it's like dealing with mix changes. It's like I'm awake, they're asleep. They're awake, I'm asleep. It's
it's fucked.
It's a little, takes a little longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have to finish another mix and send it off to the band. So
great. Well, I hope this gave your ears a little break.
Yeah, for sure.
You go back. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. I'm ready. I'm ready to mix now with
ready to go
with my one ear.
It's 1 7/8 of an ear.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
it's
good.
only a little bit. There's only a little.
Well, Steve, is there any records that you did that are coming out, songs or anything coming out?
No. Well, just this thing I'm mixing right now, but I can't really. I don't think they've talked about it yet, so I can't really talk about it. But that Ego Kill Talent record just came out like a month ago. So
I'm gonna jam that record.
Go jam that record.
Dang, that's the one I need to hear. So on tape, you did it. Dang, I need to hear that one.
Yep.
What's it called?
The Dance Between Extremes.
Okay. Oh, that's a pretty cool name.
Yeah, it's on BMG. So yeah.
BMG?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, damn, that's hot.
It's hot, not shot.
It's hot, not shot. Are you shot or hot? No, I'm hot. You're fucking shit. Well, where can people find you? On IG?
Yeah, just the IG. I'm not on Facebook anymore. I got off that.
Attaboy.
I can't. I couldn't do it.
It's rough.
Just get mad.
Yeah.
Just too many arguments. Just IG,
Totally.
Steve Evetts, SteveEvetts.com, website, but really just the IG. That's where you want to keep up with me.
Great. Well, it was Ross's idea. I think it's phenomenal. Is have another podcast with me, you, Ross, and Alex.
Oh, that would be great,
dude. I was like,
well,
yes.
Alex is gone for 7 weeks,
Yeah.
so it wouldn't be till
it's until summertime. But when you come back, we'll have some AC in here finally.
All right.
So I think we're at the last few podcasts where we don't have AC in here. But when you come back, it's gonna be fucking pumping cool air. I'll have more coffee in advance. I promise.
Fresh podcast.
Wow. Fuck yeah. All right. Well, until next time.
All right.
Steve, appreciate it, man. Love you, man.
Thank you, man.
All right,
Love you too,
everyone.
brother.
Later.
Later.